Good morning, hello, and welcome to Marketing, Branding, and Getting the Sale. And we have got some special guests here tonight. I'm hearing a bit of background noise. I'm not sure which one of us is causing that, but if we can all mute while we're not speaking, that would be awesome. Thank you. All right, so that's worked. Whoever's muted. So today we have got a branding clinic, and we have got two doggy focused businesses as well, which I'm loving. I love dogs. So loving this idea. So we're going to be bringing them on one by one, and Jess is going to be doing her branding magic with them. So before we get stuck in, just in case you don't know us, let's just do some quick introductions and we will dive into today's topic. Okay, so Jess, star of today's show, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so morning everyone. I'm Jess. For those of you that don't know me, I work with businesses to help them scale, help them become more profitable through building a compelling brand. So I actually have a 6-step brand loyalty process that I take all my clients on. I have a short video for that process. So if you're interested in what them 6 steps are, then drop me a message or put a comment in the post, and I'll get that sent over to you. Today we're going to be focusing on the first step, which is looking at your brand, reviewing what you've got. So I'll tell you a bit more about that as we get stuck in as well.
Lovely. Thank you, Jess. Stephen, quick intro from you.
Good morning, all. Great to see you both. I'm actually on location today in Stockport. So my name's Stephen Lerman. I am from Chameleon BDS Limited, outsourced business development service. So appointment setter, cold call, and prospector. So for companies that don't want to, don't like to, or don't have the resource to make those outbound calls to get new business, then I'm your man. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Stephen. And for those who don't know me, my name is Una Doyle. I'm a business strategist and coach, and I can help any existing business to find at least 50K in extra revenues without any further advertising or marketing costs. If you want to know how, I have a video training that I can share with you. Comment below or DM me to get your hands on that. All right, so let's get on with our branding clinic today. So first off, we're going to bring on Louise. So good morning, Louise. Welcome. We would love to hear a little bit from you in terms of who you are, where are you today, and tell us a little bit about your business so people understand the context before Jess starts diving in with you.
Sure, I'm Louise Toll. I'm the owner and founder of a brand called Fur Boost, which is doggy drinks for hydration and well-being. We launched in December 2020, so we are a startup and fairly new. We are based in Shropshire in the UK, and our products are made in the UK as well. And we have 3 tasty flavours. So we've got chicken, butternut squash and cranberry, pork, sweet potato and apple, beef, broccoli and blueberry flavour.
Amazing. So I know a little bit about your brand, don't I, Louise, because we've been engaging on LinkedIn for quite a while now. I'm a doggy owner. Is he here? I haven't got a new sofa bed, so this is his new bed now, not his actual bed. So I'm joining us. And I'm also waiting for your starter pack as well. So I'm really excited to try him out and see what he thinks and let you know. But for those of you that kind of, this is first time they've come across your brand, obviously giving a bit of an introduction who you are. Where do you see your brand going in maybe a year or a couple of years' time? What's your big goal for what you want to achieve?
The biggest goal for us is to get into retailers, which was in the initial business plan. But obviously COVID scuppered that because retailers weren't taking on any new business. They weren't taking on any new supplies, let alone new products. So we still got that hurdle to overcome. So that's probably our biggest thing at the moment, because we are a small brand, we are a startup. That's how we're perceived as well. So we have all of that. We went into e-commerce, which was completely new to me, completely alien. Not even heard of SEOs or how to put an ad on Facebook and Instagram. So had to learn quite quickly all of those sorts of things, as well as putting Google ads out there and stuff like that. So my background is manufacturing and into retailers who are bricks and mortar. So that was going to be my traditional route, and it still is. So we still have scale to go at. And then we have international inquiries as well. So we're working on export, which is a bit of a challenge right now. We are registered to export, but it's getting the product through the borders because of the nature of it. We need certificates from vets and also the normal legalized certificates as well to get them into the country of origin. So it's quite an exciting time. We've done year 1. We're now in year 2, and there's definite scale there. So we know that there's legs. We know that the customers like the product. We get direct feedback from events that we've been to, so that we know that it's working. What we're doing is right. It's just getting it now on a scale, I suppose, is the thing that we're going to try and do now.
So would you say, after what you've said there, the biggest challenge is getting your brand in front of more people? It's making it kind of more credible, making it not perceived bigger than you are, but kind of getting into the big players. Would you agree? Or is there any other challenges that you have as well?
No, it's that. I mean, we're geared up in the factory, and we have volume. So we've definitely got the volume and all the gear and kit in place. It's just getting the sales to drive that volume. And it'd be nice to start shifting, a few pallets and getting those out there. Yeah. So, cases is great, but pallets would be better.
That's great, thank you. That helps as well with some of the stuff that I've seen. So apologies if I keep looking down. I've been having a look and making some notes. So there's a few things that I wanted to share with you and everyone else today. So I'm going to try and share my screen so we can look at your website now, and everybody can see what we're talking about. There we go. So can everyone see that?
Not right now.
No. Okay. It's showing in the back of mine. Yeah.
There we go. I have something on. We've not done this before. Now I see it.
Perfect. So, right, I won't be able to see everybody as I'm scrolling through the website. So if anyone wants to say anything or whatever, don't be polite, put your hand up, just say it, because I won't see. So, right, okay, let's start off. So I've got 4 things I wanted to run through with you. 4 things that you're doing great, but then 4 ways that you can maximize that opportunity. Because like I said before, the 6-step process that I take people on, the first step is always looking and reviewing where we're at. So we're always looking at what you're doing great, what's amazing, what's something that's really getting you out there. Because sometimes you can go by your day to day, can't you? And you can be doing things and you don't actually know if they're working or not. So I'm going to tell you things that you are doing good, so then you know to do more of them. And then I'm going to tell you tips and areas where maybe you can improve on that and maybe capitalize on them opportunities. So let's dig in. So this is your homepage, and for those of you that have not come across FurBoost before, this is kind of the look and feel of the website. I've had a look at your social media as well, which you'll bring into account. But yeah, there we are. So the first point I wanted to mention, which I absolutely love, is your photography on your social media. So you don't have any on your website, unfortunately. But for those of you that are maybe watching, have a look at the Facebook page for FurBoost. Some of the photographs that you use on there are so funny. Like, they really bring in that emotional engagement, don't they? As soon as I saw them, I smiled. My favourite one was the when the product's being poured down and the dog's kind of like licking it and it's going everywhere, and it just brings that character and that fun which you've got in your brand. And I think utilising them a lot more, putting them on your website, maybe even eventually putting them on your packaging, putting them on your banners, your expo stands, when you're exhibiting, attract people's emotional attention with them photographs. So photographs speak 1,000 words, don't they? So yeah, utilise them more. To bring in that emotional engagement. So that's the one thing that I wanted to mention first. Do you agree with that? Do you love the photographs? Do you want to use them more? Is there a reason why maybe you've not done it so far?
Yeah, we've just recently changed the website, so there's another widget which we haven't put on yet, which is reviews, and it's works similar to Trustpilot. So we're moving away from Trustpilot so that we've got more interaction, and that can link directly into our social feeds. So we can pull that in, and it's a live review of what people think of the product, what they've done with the product. Those sorts of things. So the fun bit is to follow, but I absolutely agree. The photographs speak 1,000 words, and we are trying to get more of those consistencies across all of our social media channels and our branding, because you've nailed what the brand's about. That's what we wanted to bring.
Good. Have you seen that sofa bed there? It was from Made. So I don't know if you've looked at their website before, but on their product listing, you can see a scroll of images of people using the products in real life. You know, you can see the sofa in people's different rooms and different surroundings. You know, that is that the sort of thing you want about, where people can post and then you can see the product in other people's hands and you know in other ways. Yeah, I love that. That would work really, really well. So the second one is your colours, because as you'll kind of understand as we go through this audit, you know, your brand isn't just your colours and your logo and what people see, it's what people feel. So like with the photographs, it's not just what they're seeing with the photographs, it's how that's emotionally engaging with them, and how that's building a culture of your brand. So as we say, the colours, I love your colours, as well as being muted and you know, kind of fun and vibrant, but still natural because they're muted. And then also reassuring, you've got that emotional element from it as well. But then, like I say, you've still got your fun aspect in there because you've got your variety of colours. So I do like the aspect of your colours. What I would say is how you can maybe make that more consistent and maybe even make it more memorable when people are seeing your brand, is on when you're posting on social media. Again, I don't want to mess up my screen sharing switching to social media, but when you do your posts, you have an image of all the products in the background, don't you? And for your text posts, sorry. So what I would like you to try is maybe using the bold colours you've got at the background packaging. So you've got the red, the blue, the yellow, using one colour as a background bold colour, and then your text in the front, making it simple for people to see, you know, bringing in that repetition of you know, the way your products look, the way your websites look. So bringing in that, you know, when people see your brand, it will trigger that long-term memory because they're constantly seeing a similar thing. So I think that will just make it a lot easier as well for people to recognise you as a brand without thinking about it and reading in too much. So the last one I want to talk about is, because I'm conscious of time as well, is your brand message. So the brand idea that you've got. On your social media, again, you do it amazingly. You know, it's easy to digest. It's very conversational. It hooks them emotions. Like I said, it grabs people's attention. But you can make some really simple changes to make that even more attention grabbing on your website, as we can see it here. So you've got quite a lot of text going on, which again is great for your website build and getting yourself out there. But for people jumping on this website that maybe are unfamiliar with your brand, they're probably not going to read it, but it's got some great points in there. So it's a shame. It's a shame because you know, we want people to see it. So just presenting your points in a different way. You know, looking at, as you scroll down here, I love your icons and, you know, the benefits, leading with them benefits, you know, pull them up, you know, tell people what they're going to gain, what they're going to emotionally gain, and make it about them, you know, not about the company. So, you know, a great tip for doing that is really finding out what the enemy is of your customer. You know, what is it that's getting in the way on a daily basis? So I've spoke briefly about this before. So if we want to delve in this a bit deeper, we can do away from this call. But just some quick examples that might help. You know, you've got a Starbucks, so their customer's enemy is time. You know, Apple, their customer's enemy is well, frustration, because they don't want their products to be too complicated for people to use, do they? So really understanding what that enemy is of your customer, and just putting that in a headline, you know, really talking to that emotional gain and that specific want that they want. on an emotional level. And then going in, because you've got some really good content. You know, I love your landing pages, you know, about sustainability. I love all this that you do as a brand. You know, you've got the purpose there. You know, your ingredients, what it's made of, your expertise in yourself. You know, I've seen your video and who you are and what your experience is. So enticing them in with them emotional gains and then going into that information will really help that conversion rate on your website and help people stay on there that little bit longer.
Okay.
Does all that make sense? Does it help?
Yeah, it does make sense. The thing about getting in the way, that's probably one I need to think about a little bit more, because I've not considered that. Because it's come from a personal journey, a personal experience. I suppose it's really what my take is on it, and why I made it. So that's really what we've used for Furboos. But you can see, I mean, there is a lot of text there, and there's a lot of text there for a purpose as well, because of what people are searching for, what they're looking for, and that's why we've put it on the landing page. But yeah, I agree, there probably needs to be a little easier way to digest that and get that information across, in keeping with the brand as well. So we keep that fun side instead of bombarding with so much information. But I find that even when we meet people face to face, they go, what, who's that? You know, there's all of these questions come out. So I feel like I have to explain everything. And then once it's explained, the light bulb goes off and they go, oh yeah, I could do with something like that.
I suppose it's even kind of then when you lead in with something more emotional and the emotional gain and the enemy, you kind of possibly switching that conversation around. So when you're talking face to face, people, when you're explaining what it's about, and they're like, okay, I can get on board with that. And then they're imagining how they would use the products, the difference it would make to them, what their emotional gain is. And they think, yeah, okay, I get it now. I want to buy the products. But when you already know what them triggers are in people's minds, you can start with that. And then your brand can start with that, and people can go, oh yeah, I want that. Okay, but I want to know more about it now. But I've already decided I want it. But I just want to know more in the backstory. So it is just about how maybe switching that conversation around, and saves you as well. Like, how many rooms can you be in at one time telling everyone, you know, your story and getting your brand across and getting your culture across. So making sure your brand is doing that for you in that particular way can help with that as well. There was something else that I found really interesting about your brand, you know, regarding your strength. And all this kind of stuff, I've got some tips that I would love to share with you on that. But all this kind of stuff will really help that brand message. You know, I'm not expecting you to go away from this call now and, you know, think things instantly. Right, okay, that's it. You know, let's go. Don't put that pressure on yourself. There's plenty of other things that we can, like, you know, talk through and stuff. But I wanted to give you more of the actionable tips now that you can think about, without going into too much detail and, you know, taking up too much time on LinkedIn.
No problem. Thank you.
That was great. No, you're very welcome. So yeah, any thoughts, any kind of last minute things, questions you'd like to ask?
Well, we have just done redone the website, so we've tried to make it a bit slicker so the user experience is better. And it's sort of, we found that people tend to do a lot of research, so that they're checking, are we a viable company? Which was interesting. When we did events, people would go, oh, you are real then. I've seen the adverts on Instagram and Facebook, and they're, oh, right, okay, because that must be a trust thing with putting those sorts of adverts out there. And then once they've got the dog with them, they've sampled the product, the dogs kind of sold the product themselves because the bowl's empty. So we've updated the website so it's a little bit slicker, and I suppose it's an easier sale because of the number of clicks to basket and exiting out of the checkout. I didn't realize that was such a big thing. I'm quite old school, so I keep my credit card. I don't do Apple Pay, I don't do Google Pay, but everyone does. So I'm in a minority there. And that's been a big thing for us on our website. The number of abandoned carts has been phenomenal. So we've changed that around, and that's down to user experience, I suppose, and that the branding now, because comes across as something that you can go and research. It's clear, it's hopefully punchy. I know there's a lot of text on the landing page. People can go away, do the research through Instagram, Facebook, come back, and it's easier to do a sale now and exit.
Yeah, which is great. The platform, the structure, the framework is there, isn't it? And working with website developers, website experts to make sure you've got that, that going, because we can sit here and make the brand look amazing, have all the right points in the right place, but if the website isn't functioning, then no one's still going to get there anyway. So you've kind of maybe done the hard bit now in understanding that user experience, making it all right. Now it's maybe just taking the step back and looking at that message and how can you repeat that message? How can you grab people's attention a lot quicker? How can you get people moving through your user experience quicker and more smoother on a subconscious level? So not physically, like how many clicks does it take, but subconsciously how much are they having to think about what they want, and things like that. So the tangible bit is done. Let's dig into the mindset and kind of make sure we're using behavioral science to move people along or encourage people that will benefit from your product. Because again, I could talk for ages with some ideas that I've got. So let's pick up this call another time if you're up for that, Louise.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for that, for sure.
No, you're welcome. It was really nice to speak to you. Una, Stephen, anything from you guys? Anything that you've said? Anything that stood out?
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of what you said, I think is going to really help you with getting into retailers as well, because if you can show retailers, this is the conversion of people who see our product and then how many actually buy it, then that's going to, and also bringing that into point of sale for them. So, maybe there's, like, if you think about the questions you're getting, and, how you can succinctly get across, why they should buy this product, then I think that might really help you with the retailers as well.
Sure. Yeah, it's a challenge sometimes just getting through the buyer. So somebody on the other side in category might go, I love it, but the buyers are just like, have I got room on the shelf? There's a lot more considerations there. And obviously shelf space is a premium, and it's, that product's got to sweat that space.
Yes, and I think that's where, if you the mentality of buyers, they're often that quite sorry, just one. Stephen, would you mind muting? We're getting you back out. Thank you. With buyers, they're often that very analytical, kind of introverted type of person, aren't they? And they obviously want to have the best deals. So if they know that when they stock your product is going to fly off the shelves, then the more proof, the more evidence that you can give them, the better. And they tend to, it depends. Some of them might be more, I do personality profiling as part of my business coaching. So you have the kind of very introverted analytical ones. You also can have buyers that are more grounded and detail focused. They'll love stories, but the more analytical ones, they'll love facts. Stories to them, they just bounce off them like Teflon, that they don't have the same impact. The more grounded, detailed, but people focused people, they'll love stories, and they'll especially love stories of when something went wrong and how you fixed it, or that kind of thing, or the what challenges people had, or even if those are just challenges around their perceptions, and now how happy they are and what you've done to communicate differently as a result of that. Whereas those analytical, more data focused people, they want to know numbers, they want to know statistics. And they just love the safety and security. So anything you can do to reduce risk with them will make a big difference.
Sure. Yeah, that will be interesting conversations when I have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a really good point as well, isn't it? Because the work with your brand isn't, we're focused on your website and your customers just for this, this purpose. But the work that you'll be doing, that anybody does in the brand, you know, it's not only for the customers, but it is for the team. You know, if you start employing people to build that internal culture. So again, you don't have to be in every single room, having every single discussion. And then suppliers, partners, retailers, wholesalers, whoever else you want to work in with, it's talking to them as well, and you know, your brand is going to bring all the right people together and get you in the right retailers as well. You know, you don't want to snap someone's hand off for the sake of it. You want to make sure it aligns with your brand, and that, you know, they want to do the same. They want to make sure that your brand aligns with them. So yeah, all that work is going to help you stand out from that as well, because you do have an exceptional product. And proof, the word when you said proof, you know, proving it more with comparisons, reviews, you know, vet reviews, expert reviews, influencer reviews, proving that, you know, with people, that'll really push your brand and your strength through as well. So yeah,
definitely.
You want to get in with some of the housewives people. You know, any of those pets, send them some free product, get it shown on TV. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Stephen. Oh, Stephen, you need to unmute yourself again. Nope, not hearing you. Hang on, let me turn you off and back on again, see if that works. Hi, can we hear you now? Nope, not hearing you. Tell you what, type your question in the chat and we'll say it. We have our own private chat amongst ourselves. So we'll do that. Right, while you're doing that, Stephen, why don't we bring on Nick? And Nick and Louise can say hi to each other.
Hi, Nick.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Louise. How are you?
All right, are you?
I'm very well. And just for the three of you who don't know, Lou and I were chatting yesterday. Absolutely fantastic conversation. And it couldn't have happened at a better time, really, because when I talk about my product, Lou's product can go into my product. It just makes life easier. So, yeah. And also listening to Lou yesterday. So I hope you don't mind me calling you Lou. I'm terrible at
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's just an awesome story that Louise has been through. And listening, I learned a lot yesterday, and we both agreed that business plans and everything else, they're absolutely super. But the moment you start walking the walk, it all goes out the window and things just come from you left, right, forward, back, and you have to adapt all the time. And it's a terrific learning curve, and it's a bit like a Harrier junk jet. It doesn't take off, it just goes like that straight up. So yeah, as I say, I had a wonderful conversation with Louise, and I thank you very much for that yesterday.
You're welcome.
Nick, I'll come back to you to introduce yourself in a moment. But Stephen, what he was trying to say, with if his sound had been working, is that his cousin is actually a matchmaker for the housewives. So you want to reach out to Stephen and see, can he get you an intro?
For sure, Steve.
Yeah. So
I want one as well.
Stephen's having technical difficulties, but yeah. So there we go. Right, okay, so just conscious of time now. So Louise, we're going to let you go. Feel free to hang about in the background and see what Nick says. And let me know in the chat if you've got anything else you want to say. If you're doing that, I'll bring you back on at the end. But for now, we're going to say thank you so much for joining us, and bye for now. And Nick, over to you. If you just do a quick intro of just a kind of 1 minute of what your business is, please. And then Jess can dive into her audit with you.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name's Nick, and I'm the founder and designer of the Perfect Bag. I was a dog walker, I'm a dog owner, and like all dog people, we end up modelling poo bags as we walk along. Or, in the last couple of years, there's a lot of lazy individuals who don't model it and just throw it into the bush or hang it on a tree. So I came up with the Perfect Bag. And the idea of the Perfect Bag, and here's one I made earlier. I don't make them, by the way. It's a waterproof bag, robust, flexible, roughly 10 inches by 10 inches, has an adjustable strap, comes in 7 colours. Inside, we have a pocket for clean poo bags, treats, a lead. I have a torch because it's winter, but that'll go. And we just spoken to Louise, and lo and behold, you could put a collapsible water dish with a container of her fur boost in there, and you can put whatever you want, whether it be a ball, a bottle of water. The list is endless. So you're walking along, and now your pockets are not full of everything. You're walking along. Dogs do what dogs do. Whip out a bag. We pick it up. We tie it off. And then we pop it into the second pocket here. So whilst we're walking now, there is no need to swing a full poo bag or anything like that. And there's no temptation of leaving it somewhere. Your dog might be reactive. I don't know. The list is endless. But basically, your hands free. And even if you're walking along, you can have a cup of coffee. Once you finish your cup of coffee, crush it, put it in there. If you've got kids, they're eating sweets, whatever, you take the wrappers, put it in there, rather than put it in your pockets and it blows everywhere when you put your hands in and out. Once we get home, we simply open our dustbin. I'm sorry, I've got to do this quickly. We open the dustbin, put the flap from the front to the back, pinch the first pocket, poo into our bin. So we haven't touched the poo since we picked it up. And if the pockets were to get dirty, you can remove them, wash them, dry them, and replace them. So it's a storage bag at home as well as a walking bag. Hi, thank you.
I'm going to give that a clap. That was a great intro. Thank you. I think that's very clear for people. I love the idea. I have to say, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say poo so many times in one little burst of speech. But perfect, of course, for what perfect for what you're doing. That's really interesting. That's really good. And actually, I can see why that would be so useful for people when they're out walking their dogs. I definitely would not want to be handling it any more than required. So it definitely makes sense to me. Jess, over to you then.
Yeah, I absolutely love your purpose, Nick, your vision, your brand, everything about it. I love we've had a couple of conversations about it and how it can, make a difference to the environment, whether you've got dogs or not. As soon as a product like this gets going out there and we build that awareness, even if you're a dog hater, I don't know if them people exist, but even if you're one of them, or I don't know, even if you don't have pets yourself, you're going to benefit from this brand. And that's what I love about it. You're going to benefit from it because you're going to have a cleaner space to live. You're not going to walk around and see people that haven't even picked it up, see bags everywhere. And yeah, it's a great product. So I'm definitely a fan of this already. So for people that, again, are just meeting you for the first time today, can you briefly tell people where you want to be in, let's say, 2 years, and maybe what's getting in your way, what's stopping you from doing that?
Where I want to be is up there. When I say up there, there's 12.5 million dogs. I mean, wouldn't it be marvelous to even get half of that? That would be fantastic. But let's be realistic. Let's start this year properly. And I just want to get it out there. The biggest thing I'm finding is it's changing people's attitudes and habits. I think everybody sticks everything in their pockets because that's what they're used to, and it's just changing that concept. And as I say, I'm sure that most dog owners, when they go, particularly in the winter, they put on their coat and they do the old, I call it the German dance, where they start going, have I got everything, up and down their body, have I got this? And basically this bag will hang there with everything you need in it. And all you've got to do is, when you boss, I want to go for a walk, you put the bag over you and away you go. There is no have I. So it's a storage bag in the house. And as I say, winter time, you can put your hands in your pocket without your little dinky finger with a poo bag hanging on it or whatever. And then come summer, when you've got shorts and t-shirt on or whatever you might be wearing in warmer weather, you've got reduced pockets. So again, this bag contains everything you want, and you can put your keys in there, you can put your phone in there. The choice is endless, whatever you want to put in there. And it's just changing people's perceptions, I'd like to think. And this year, I'm highly excited because I have Paws in the Park and other dog shows. And yeah, I want to change people's habits. I want them to buy British. And also, it'd be great not to see poo bags hanging off bushes, lazy individuals. And let's make a difference.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's make a difference. And it's quite simple.
I love that. And I love that kind of building new habits for people, building that awareness, building changing perspectives. Again, a lot of that happens in the subconscious mind, doesn't it? And it is a lot of work to change habits. And getting up earlier is hard work, never mind changing kind of,
Yeah.
anything that you're doing. So the way that your brand needs to get in front of people, it is on a subconscious level, and it is building that community as well, where people can have that group of people to go on this journey with, and ask questions and have that conversation with, to help them change them habits and give that support. Quickly, what would you say is getting in your way of doing that? What's a big challenge? What's a big hurdle that
getting the brand out there? That is my biggest pain at the moment. And the reason why I say this, I have sent umpteen via social media to dog walkers, because I was a dog walker, and this is where the idea came from. Because when you got 3 or 4 bags of poo, it's yeah, and then if a dog reacts or whatever, you've got to put them. So this is where the idea come from, and I'm just a little bit I guess disappointed that more doggy people haven't sort of picked it up and gone, great idea. The people who have bought the bag absolutely loved it. And because it's made in Britain, I will say that I've had no returns whatsoever with manufacturing or anything like that. So I'm really, really pleased about that part as well. Very proud, in fact.
Yeah. That's so, yeah, that and again, what another thing I love about your bag is how versatile it is. There are similar bags on the market, but they're not as versatile as what yours are. And I think for more outdoorsy people, more active people, people with kids, people with prams, people, your bag can adapt to all them scenarios, where a lot of the time they are either too small to fit anything in, or too fancy to just throw around yourself when you're going for a run or anything like that. So getting out there, getting noticed, getting in front of more people. Okay, so let me share my screen again so everybody can see. There we go. Can see what you're about and who you are, and things whilst we're talking away. So again, I've got 4 things that I'm hopefully going to get through. I am going to keep an eye on time, so whatever we don't get through, we'll pick up in another conversation.
I hope so.
And again, if anyone's watching this, maybe I've got a similar question, please put it in the post, and we'll be able to pull it up at the bottom and answer any questions you've got. If you don't want to do it publicly, drop me a message with a question, and I'll answer that as well, and maybe jump on a call too. Let's dig in. The good bit. So again, the first thing that you're doing really good, which I love, is on your social media, you're very consistent. So I've been scrolling through Facebook, and I've been seeing your videos that you've been putting up on there, modeling your bag, kind of, or videos just showing, your environment and the changes it can make. They're really engaging, they're really good. You get your point across, you get your purpose across within your social media. An opportunity that I think that you can easily do to capitalize on that is open them posts up for engagement. So start conversations with them. Rather than making a point and making a statement, make your statement, but then invite people to bring their own opinions on board as well. So you can simply ask questions. I don't know. You can, have you ever seen anything like this before? And what do you think? That will really help build that trust with people and build that, that familiarity with the concept before introducing the product. Which your product is just the instant solution, really, isn't it? The brand is what's going to be the long-term solution, the long-term satisfaction. The product will just satisfy the need there and then, but the brand will help in the long term. Just opening them posts up for engagement and conversation to build that community on social media. Another simple change. Your visual identity. So, if if we were to work together, I wouldn't say, come on, let's change everything right now. Let's change the way it looks. Let's change your logo. Let's do this. Let's do that. What I'd want to do first is maybe get across your emotional benefits in short, snappy ways. So a way that you can do that is including icons and infographics and things like that within your visual identity. So as well as, when I say visual identity, you've got your logo, your color palette, your fonts. You can also have icons, any sort of graphs, anything that proves a point visually rather than in a sentence. So it'd be really good to see actually on your website here as we're looking at it. I love that you support these charities. I absolutely adore that because I support dogs myself as well. So it is very close to my heart. But unfortunately, when people looking at your product and looking at your brand, that's the secondary thing. So what people want to know first is what am I going to get out of it? What's the emotional gain that I'm going to get first? And then once I'm happy, then I'll contribute. Which isn't a selfish thing at all. It's just how we're run. We need to make sure we're investing in something that's right for us too. So having some icons there or something that visually shows the emotional gain that your customer is going to get. And that's not only for your website. You can use that on your social media, any flyers, any, when you do your stands this year, you do your expos, you can have them on that. So your banners in the background, that you can see in your video, having them icons and them visual attention grabbing hooks will work far more quicker and far more effective than text would. So I'd bring that into your visual identity as well. So the next one is strength. So I love working with brands and figuring out the strengths. So one of the strategies that I do with my clients is all about your core strength as a brand. There's 4 different types of strength that a brand can have. You are lucky, unfortunate, and amazing to have 2, but at the minute they're competing with each other. So we really need to think of one. So the 2 that I'd say that your strengths are, based on what I know about you so far and this conversation we've had, is your product is one of your strengths. It's a great strength because you've got a great product, but also your story. What you want to change, what's the difference you want to make, what's your purpose and all, that's another big strength. Like I said, at the minute, I feel like they're competing with each other and you don't quite know which one to talk about first. I would say that your story is your biggest strength, but like I said, I'd love to go into more detail on that with you. But then there's different ways that you can anchor against that. So does that make sense so far?
Yes. I'm a compulsive person sometimes, and I run into fear where angels tread. And as I say, I had an idea, I ran into this, and then suddenly I was like, oh my God, so I understand that totally.
Good. Yeah, amazing. And like I said, the fact that you've got 2 strong ones and we can say, right, okay, which one do we want to go with? But once you pick one, once you anchor against one, it'll help with every other messaging you do. Your personality, your culture, your posting on social media, how you have conversations with people. Once you know what that strength is, you can talk about the other ones. It's not that that's a weakness now, but we can anchor against that and really build communication around that. Just to give a quick example of a comparison between that, if you think of the brand Rolex and the brand Virgin. So Rolex, their strength is their product. So they have different ways on how they get that across on an emotional level, and they do it really, really well. And the opposite to that with Virgin, their strength is their story. So you can tell they want to build that community of people. They want to, make people part of a group, part of a culture, and that's what they lead with. So if you're, for anyone who's watching this, if you feel your brand strength is your product, things like reviews, displaying your features and things like that, that's a really good kind of starting point. And for you, Nick, which I think is the one, and for other people that might think that their story is the strength, again, building that community. So asking questions on your social media, but opening up that space for debate. And also having that softer approach of getting to know people and their environment and who they are, and not mentioning price. The price isn't it doesn't even come to the equation. Once you build people's loyalty and trust in what your story is and your purpose and your mission, people get on board with that. And price isn't even a considerate. It's more about the difference that they're making. And if you want to know more about that, we have done a price versus value live before. So drop one of us a message and we'll send you the link to that, and you can watch that too. Just to help you think, well, people want price. Like, I need to talk about price. So don't think that. Get in touch with us and watch the video that we've done about that. So does that make sense, Nick? Have you got any
Yes.
questions? Any insights you want to share?
No, I'm looking forward to driving this forward, because, as I say, I really am. I'm a person who is passionate about things, and I do believe this bag has got a longevity, and also to think that in a couple of years this could make a big difference. And I think also that the message gets out there that even if you use bio bags, I think I spoke to someone not so long ago and they said, oh, well, I used to throw it in the bush. And I said, it doesn't start breaking down until 6 months plus. So you've still got these people going, oh, it's a bio bag, I can throw it away and it'll act like tissue. So this bag, ideally, it'll just stop it. I don't think it will stop it complete, but I'd like to think I will make a large difference.
Yeah. And I think that building that community where you're raising that awareness and busting myths like that, like, if that's something that you do and, watching this, then, don't feel bad. Obviously, you're not the only one doing it, but it's just changing, it's busting their myths, isn't it? And it's building the awareness that, no, that's not the best way to do it. This is, but they're not making them feel bad that they do it in the first place as well. So it's getting that balance right and having that community, leading with your story, and building them loyal people in that will help with that goal that you've got as well of really changing habits and building that awareness. So I think that would be a really powerful thing for you to look at. So again, we can pick up this conversation. I can show you some other comparisons and examples to help you do that too. Una, anything that you want to share? Any insights that you've seen? Noticed?
Scroll back up to the top. While you're doing that, there's something else I wanted to say. So you were saying about in your conversation with Louise yesterday that you've been talking about plans and how they kind of went out the window. One of the things I would definitely recommend is actually having 90-day plans. So quite often when people set up a business, they create a business plan for setting up the business, but it's not necessarily activity focused. So if you have activity focused 90-day plans that focus on what are the business building projects, what are the processes you need to be looking at, and what are the promotions, and I don't necessarily mean a sale as in a discount sale, but yeah, it's those kinds of things that actually can really help you. Plus, as you say, then you have those regular reviews as well. So that was just one thing. The other thing is, so I went and had a look at your website, when Jess invited yourself and Louise to come on, and when I looked at it, it took me a while to figure out what the product was.
Okay.
To me, dog management bags meant nothing. I actually thought it was something to do with dog training.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just think that the description that you've got there, that's definitely one of the first things that I would look to change, and you mentioned that you've been messaging some people and you weren't getting quite the response that you wanted. Now, some of that may well be to do with beliefs and myths that need to be changed and busted. But also if people were coming here, like, they have to scroll down quite a bit before they see the bags, and a bit further before there's then the messages about, well, what are they for and how do you use them? So I think there's actually, but the description you did at the beginning of this video, brilliant. And in fact, I would actually be tempted to have a video of you doing exactly that, either at the top or very near the top of the page, just to immediately get across what is it, as Jess was saying, what's in it for me? What do I get out of doing this? And yes, there has to be the balance of the emotional and logical, but if people don't understand what something is, then unfortunately they're probably just going to bounce and go on with whatever they were doing before. So I think there's some messaging honing needs to be done there. To you, it's really clear and obvious, but you've got to put yourself, I don't own a dog, but I have owned dogs in the past. I am a dog lover, and I was a bit confused, and confused people don't buy. So that's the biggest thing that I would kind of say for you as well.
To maybe help you with that, Nick, because I agree, that that's a really good point, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because it's reminded me of something I wanted to mention to you as well. Have you heard of the Golden Circle, Nick, from
No.
Simon Sinek? So I'll send you directly a link to that. I'll also post it in the comments for those of you that might not have heard it, that's watching this. If you have and you found it valuable, share that experience as well. But basically, that helps you kind of order your message in the right way. So you've got a great purpose, as we've been talking about. You've got that amazing purpose. You've got that amazing culture. That your vision, everything is kind of spot on. So we want to lead with that more. So like Una said, you have to scroll to the bottom to understand that at the minute. So it's just about making sure you're leading with that purpose, leading with that why, to getting people on board. Obviously, as well, making it clear what your product is. Whereas at the minute you're leading quite logically and with the product rather than leading with the why. So I'll send you links to that video. It'll help you. It's a really good video. You can watch it and go off it yourself and do things from that. Another thing that I want to mention as well, that this is something that I see a lot, and it's not and it is no wonder it makes complete sense, because something I want to share with everyone is, when we buy into a product, when we go out and buy a food shop, when we buy something like this we've not seen before, we think that we're buying based on logic and based on our conscious, what's in the front of our conscious mind. So that's what we think is making us buy, when really it's all subconscious, and it's what we've seen, what we've felt, what we've heard before that logical decision making. So not to over confuse things, but we will naturally then think, when we're selling something, we need to lead with that logic, because that's what people make the decision based on, and we forget about that subconscious emotional side of things. So it's just getting that balance right, where you're bringing that into your business as well. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
So, and just to say, so thanks, Linda, commenting. She was saying the price versus value would be interesting to read and see. We will comment that link later. Yeah, any other questions that you have, do please put them in the comments when you're watching the replay, and put #replay in the comments as well. We'll be happy to. We get a little notification if you comment on this. So and do please feel free to tag either any of us that you feel is relevant to what it is you're asking a question about, or if you want to share your own experience with something that has been discussed here today. Just very quickly before we round up, this has been a bit of a long one, but lots. Oh my God, so much gold here, I think, today. Stephen, can we hear you? Do you have anything else to add? Any other questions? No, we're still not hearing you. Apologies for that. Technical issues. Part of what happens sometimes with live things. It's just par for the course sometimes. So listen, Nick and Louise, let me just bring you back on here. Louise, thank you so much for joining us here today. It has been great. Jess, thank you for all that gold that you've shared. Well done. You can join us again here next week. Next week's topic is about words that sell. So actually very, very topical in terms of what we have been talking here. Stephen's just commented in chat. Brilliant, Jess. Well done. Yes, I would agree with that. Thank you so much for joining us. We will also, in a few weeks' time, we will be having a market dominating position audit, which I'll be leading on. So if you're interested in being on the, a guest for that, then do please let me know. So we will say thank you for joining us. Join us at the same time next week, and bye for now.
Thank you so much.